Hey everybody, so today in this review of High Score Girl, I'm going to be going over episodes 7 through 9, so 7, 8, and 9. Let's go ahead and get into this video. So we start off with Hikida getting the game Final Fight for Super Nintendo. We're not really told if this is a gift or something that she just went out and bought or not. All we know is that she has the game and that's all that matters, you know. She wants to use this game as a way to draw Haruo to her house. He loves games and she loves him. Match made in heaven to me. The next day Hikida tells Haruo about the game that she got, which is Final Fight. She tells him and he wants to know if he can borrow the game, which is the complete opposite of what she wanted to do, because she wanted him to come over to her house and play the game, but he wants to just borrow it instead so he can play it alone. Then when she says no, he accuses her of being very stingy. Akira then walks by them while they're in class and they take notice to her presence. Then they say that she's just as mysterious as she's always been. Hikida recounts today that she first saw Akira and Haruo reunite. Hikida feels like there is much more to their relationship than what Haruo is letting on. Hikida then realizes that Akira was actually the one that she fought in the fighting game, the one who used the hidden character. She then tells Haruo, and then Haruo remembers that games come out earlier in the West than they do in the East. Specifically, games come out earlier in the US than they do in Japan. And so for that reason, it was easier for her to get to information that would let her know how to summon the hidden character, because the game released 2 months earlier than it did in Japan. In the next scene, Haruo is in the school gym during his lunchtime and he's looking through a game magazine, imagining what his life would be like if he could purchase the game machines that he saw in the magazine. As he reads the magazine, the scene keeps cutting back and forth between him reading the magazine and Akira walking throughout the school's hallway. Haruo then looks up and sees Akira. Turns out a guy asked her to come to the gym in order to ask her out on a date. The guy then gets mad because the other guys around him assume that she says no, because she gives no reaction when he asked her if she will go on the date. The guy gets mad, turns his attention towards Haruo and questions why he's there, and says that he's done research on Haruo and knows that Akira and Haruo went to elementary school together, and he demands to know the extent of their relationship. Haruo then tells the guy that Akira is like a thorn in his side. Akira gets visibly mad about this and leaves. Haruo then runs after her. He then asks her how to unlock the hidden character in the game that they were playing. In my opinion, it's very obvious that he wants to ask her more than just how to unlock the character that she was playing, and that he wants to get deeper, but you know. Then she just turns around and walks away. In the next scene, Haruo is playing at the arcade and wonders why he can't stop thinking about his relationship with Akira. Then Haruo's friend Meow walks up and says that on their field trip to Kyoto that he will confess his love to Akira, and Haruo has a mini panic attack to this news. In the next scene, Hikida finds out that unfortunately the game that she wanted to play with Haruo only allows for single player and does not allow co-op. We've now jumped to the month of June on the day of the field trip. The class is at a train station. Akira sits alone. Later on, Haruo's teacher asks him to go into the train station. At this point, the train has stopped. He asks him to go into the train station and get some refreshments because he feels that he has motion sickness. Hikida sees Haruo outside with all the refreshments. Then she sees him drop a couple of items and then she rushes outside to go help him pick up the items. As she's helping him pick up the items, the train quickly leaves and they are left stranded by themselves at the train station. So let me be clear, at this point they had already left their town and now they're in another area of Japan and they got left at a train station where there's nothing else around them but woods. So they can't go back home, and you know, they're kind of stuck there for right now. So after they have a short panic session, they then think of alternative ways that they can get to Kyoto. As they walk around, Haruo is very excited to see that there is an arcade at the train station. Hikida then calls and informs the school teachers of their situation. The teachers tell them that the slower train will take some time to get there, but they should catch that when it arrives, and for the time being they should just stay at the train station. After they stay in the train station, specifically the arcade, for a while, Haruo suggests to Hikida that they find their own way to Kyoto and that there's a trail that runs along the biggest lake in Japan known as Lake Biwa that will take them to Kyoto. Hikida doesn't want to at first, but Haruo soon convinces her, or I should say that her love for Haruo soon convinces her. When they finally get to the lake, Hikida accidentally out loud says that
this feels like a date.
She then tries to cover it up, while internally she wants to ask Haruo what his relationship is with Akira. They then make their way to a bus stop and decide to wait by it, but they then find out that the bus will take 45 minutes to arrive. Haruo then wanders off and Hideka follows. Haruo is then excited to find a candy arcade shop. In the next scene, they finally get on the bus and make it to the hotel that the class is staying in Kyoto. Hikita then internally reveals that she wanted to spend a lot more time alone with Haruo. Haruo then discovers an arcade within the hotel. When he gets there, he runs into Akira. Her expression starts with a smile and then turns into a blank expression when she sees him. Haruo then explains how he missed the train and what happened on the journey that him and Hikita took to get back with the class. Her face then goes from blank to angry. She then tries to hit Haruo, misses, and then whips him with her hair. In the final scene of this episode, we see Hikita's reflection in the window pane, and she's smiling. The camera then jumps to a drink that Haruo gave her after they had got left at the train station. So in my opinion, this episode wasn't all of that, but it was decent. I did like the little side adventure that Haruo and Hikita went on because I thought it was kind of cute. But I will say that I wish Akira would talk, because I really would like for her to reveal what her true gripe is and not leave it for us to infer, because this girl has not spoken
the entire season.
But nevertheless, on to the next episode. It appears that the class is at a museum/temple of sorts, it seems. The teachers make an announcement and tell the students that they have an unspecified amount of free time where they can go and do whatever they want. Meow lets Haruo know that he will confess his love to Akira at night. Meow then proceeds to ask Haruo about Akira, like what she likes to do, how she is personally, stuff like that, because he knows that her and Haruo had gone to elementary school together. Hikita sees Haruo and Meow talking and goes to join them. Haruo says that he'll just be going to visit arcades all day and that he's going to be attending a fighting tournament. While he's saying this, Hikita in her head says that she'll be lonely. Obviously, she doesn't have that many friends. She's lonely. You know what? Matter of fact, what's interesting is that this episode and the next episode, Hikita takes a very backseat, very large chunk of time in the backseat. Like, we don't see her much. We only see her a couple of times. And even then, she's not really doing much. So, you know, interesting how that's turning out, which may be like a clue to how their relationship, the little love triangle thing that's happening, will turn out. I digress. As Haruo is making his way around Kyoto, he finds himself lost and takes directions from a man on the street. The directions point him to the bus station that he needs to go to get to the tournament. On his way to the tournament, he finds himself very nervous, but is somewhat reassured when a video game character appears in front of him, and he feels like the presence of this video game character gives him the confidence to actually win the tournament. When he gets to the tournament, he spots Akira. She is there competing in the tournament as well. She also knew the tournament overlapped with the field trip and used her free time to come to the tournament and compete as well. Haruo then says that he believes that this is fate and that this is the way in which him and Akira can finally have their battle and finish their rivalry. A little after the tournament starts, Akira has already beat her first opponent, even though Haruo hasn't even started yet. Haruo finally has to step up to the plate and he wins. Both Akira and Haruo make it to the preliminaries. Including both Haruo and Akira, we have 8 competitors in the preliminaries. Akira goes first and wins. Haruo goes next and also wins. Akira makes it into the final round, but Haruo has to go against one last guy before he can proceed to the final round as well. The guy says that he uses a character that Haruo isn't good at fighting, but lucky for Haruo and plot armor, the guy makes a mistake, chooses the wrong character, a character that Haruo is good at fighting, and Haruo wins. Before the match, Haruo reflects on all the things that him and Akira have been through, such as when they first met, all the adventures that they've been on, her leaving and her coming back, and where they are today. A bit of a friendly reflection before they
get into it.
So in the first round of the match, it is a tug of war between Akira and Haruo, but Haruo pulls through and wins the first match. In the second match, Akira wins. In the third match of the final round, Haruo wins and takes the trophy. After Haruo's trophy ceremony, Akira emotionally walks away out of the building. Soon after that, Haruo overhears the people who run the tournament talking about how the machine that Akira was on was messed up. The buttons were malfunctioning, meaning that she couldn't perform her moves properly, thus not giving her a fair advantage when it came to going against Haruo. When Haruo hears this, he runs out the door after Akira, and he asks her why she didn't say anything when she knew that her machine was messed up. And then Akira literally just beats him up. While he's getting beat up, he imagines the games that he's played watching him on the sidelines. After a little while of him getting beat up by Akira, he finally yells out that she doesn't know how bad he wanted her to come back. As they're on the ground, Haruo spots the pink ring around Akira's neck and asks her why she kept it all this time. We jump a little bit after their fight, and Haruo is in the tournament t-shirt that were given to all the competitors that got into the preliminaries. Akira then walks out a building with her shirt on as well. And then they both walk together peacefully, happily. Haruo's talking, of course, by himself, but Akira's actually smiling. They get on the bus together and they ride back to the hotel happily and calmly. Meow finds them walking into the hotel and asks them where have you been? And why they're dressed alike. Akira walks away and Haruo explains everything that happened to Meow. So this episode to me was actually a really good episode. I do like that Akira and Haruo finally got through the issues that she had with him and that they're now back cool again. But I do like the progression of their relationship a lot because I feel like there's actually an acknowledgement of their feelings towards one another. On to the next episode. We start episode 9 off at Haruo's house, and him and his mother are having breakfast. His mother wants to see a Street Fighter movie with him, but he declines, and she has a hissy fit. While she's having this fit, Haruo is out the door. He then goes to an arcade to look for Akira. He sees Akira's driver trying to take her out the arcade, saying that she's been there for hours and hours just playing games. Apparently, Akira's been studying for the majority of summer break, and that's why she's so eager to stay in the arcade and not to leave. And once again, we have another time jump. It is now It's now the middle of summer and we were just in the middle of the school year for the field trip now. So apparently it's been some months in the time jump, and I guess that Akira and Haruo's relationship has progressed off screen. And we've heard nothing about Akira, but I digress. The driver leaves and goes to play games himself because Haruo convinces him that everybody needs some time off, including him. Haruo then watches Akira play a fighting game, and then they play against each other. After playing, Akira does something very strange, something unnormal to her. She stays to watch Haruo play the rest of the game, when usually she would just jump up and move on to another machine. After they leave for the day and split up, Haruo wonders if Akira has any friends at all, because he says that he never sees her hanging out with anybody and that she only hangs out with him. And he really does hope that once she goes off to high school that she can find friends, and that she needs to learn to make friends going forward with her life, and that he does not want to see her lonely. Fast forward to the next day, and Haruo is with Akira and he's telling her about the new game consoles that are coming out while they're in the arcade. Haruo then realizes that games aren't allowed in Akira's home. Then he says to her that anytime that she wants to play, she's always welcome at his house, and that he'd like for her to come over sometime and play when he gets the new consoles. While he's saying this, Haruo is internally still wondering why Akira was mad at him when she got back to Japan, but he ignores it and says that he's happy now because they're finally back on good terms. Haruo then lets us know that once the summer is over, him and Akira will be going to different high schools. They then go to an arcade to try out a brand new fighting game. Everyone is shocked in the arcade when Akira beats the game with no losses on her first try. After they finish playing the game, they go out to eat. It looked like they went to a ramen shop or something like that, maybe, I don't know, but I got hungry when I saw that and I thought of ramen. Haruo then talks about the high schools that they're going to be testing into, and also continues his conversation about the new consoles coming out. You can tell with the combination of both tone and music in this scene that Haruo and Akira are both sad that they will be splitting up soon, and that they won't be able to see each other like they can now, because they're going to be going to different schools that are far away from each other, and they're going to miss that. They're going to miss that interaction, especially because Haruo is Akira's only friend. Before Akira and her driver leave after they eat, Haruo leans into the car and asks her, "Do you enjoy being with me?" All she does is smile, and then Akira leaves. Haruo then says that if Akira is still alone in high school, he will be there for her. No matter what, he will always hang out with her whenever she needs him. And he finally admits to himself that he actually likes her. Not like as a friend, but like as
a girlfriend.
In the next scene, we see Haruo doing something that is out of his character.
Studying.
While he's studying, he's having a hard time because he doesn't study, so he cannot easily concentrate, but he's pushing through it. We do another big time jump. We fast forward to November, and Haruo is talking to Meow and Hikida, which we finally seen Hikida again. We haven't seen her talk in a little while, so she's back. And Haruo admits that he's trying to study to get into the same high school as Akira. Miyao and Hikida volunteered to tutor him to help him get into the school. We are now in February on exam day. Haruo is leaving to go to school and he sees Akira's driver. The driver says that Haruo makes Akira happy and is a great support system for her. He tells Haruo to tell Akira how he really feels about her and that he's going to be driving him to take his final exams. Apparently Haruo's mother ran into the driver while out shopping, and so they arranged for them to go to the same testing together because Haruo's mother found out that he was trying to test into the same school that Akira was. So they arranged for them to drive there together. While they're on the way to the high school to take the exam, Haruo talks to Akira about the day that they were at the airport and she left. He brings up the analogy about how just like video games, life advances. And so his advancement is trying to get into school with her. They can continue their relationship and their journey together. Her eyes shimmer, then she puts her hand on top of his and holds his hand for the remainder of the trip. This time in the credits, we get to see their exam process. We get to see how their exams are going and what Haruo has to go through to get into the exams and his thought process during the exams. Haruo then says that if he gets in, he'll finally tell Akira his true feelings about her. And then the episode concludes. I really did like this episode. I feel like the narrative it's coming to a conclusion so far. It's going to be wrapping up soon, but I feel like we have enough time to actually see something. There isn't because usually when these narrative beats happen, where the characters when these narrative beats happen, when the characters want to explain their love and stuff like that, and they actually learn that they like each other and whatnot, they don't admit it until the last episode, and we don't get to see the effects of that afterwards. And so I'm happy that we get 3 more episodes to see how their relationship will progress after these big reveals that have happened in the past episodes with Haruo and Akira both accepting that they do like each other. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next review, which will be the final review of High Score Girls Season 1. And that will be my first time finishing a season of any series, so I'm very excited. So be sure to stick around until then, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Leo Cyan, out.